Hello, I'm Diego Rizzo. I'm a landscape photographer specialized in active volcano photography. I also run workshops, and today I'm going to share 5 lovely tips on volcano photography. Tip number 1, be prepared for the weather. Even when it doesn't have anything to do with photography, you have to be comfortable and warm when you're shooting on a volcano, because the weather can get really bad, like in just minutes or seconds. They have their own microclimates, so it's a good idea to be ready. Bring several layers, bring a jacket, bring gloves, bring a hat. That way you can be as warm as possible and also very comfortable when shooting on a volcano, because remember that usually you're gonna stay out late in the night shooting the volcanoes and trying to capture the lava, right? So be prepared. Tip number 2, a sturdy tripod is a must. Definitely you have to bring a very strong and robust tripod, because the conditions on the volcano can get very windy and also the ground is not even. So bringing a good tripod is a really good idea. I use this tripod with a ball head. It helped me a lot with when I'm trying different angles, and also when I get low to the ground, I can move the camera very easily. So sturdy tripod with a ball head is my recommendation when you're shooting photos of a volcano. The next tip is to pay attention to the focusing and also to the highlights when you're shooting. I think that it's obvious, right? And it's kind of a basic thing to focus, but it could be tricky when you're shooting in a dark place or a black place like a volcano. So try focusing on a star, on a city light, or even the moon, right? So you can nail the focus and don't lose the next eruption, right? Something that is really useful to me is to focus on an eruption or an explosion. It depends also on how often the explosions happen, but I try to focus as fast as I can and then switch to the manual mode and then keep shooting, right? So in that way, I'm sure that the focus is nailed and I just keep shooting and shooting and shooting. And also pay attention to the highlights. It's pretty easy to overexpose a photo when you're shooting a volcano, because the lava and everything is going to blow out the highlights. So I always underexpose my photos. That way I can play with the shadows and blacks when I'm editing the photos. So be aware of that and always underexpose your photos to take care of the highlights, right? Tip number 4, play with exposure time. A volcanic eruption can give you different angles, but also you can try with different exposure times. Trying with a long exposure, you can get the trail of the lava bombs into the air, or a short exposure, you can get the ballistics frozen in the air. So try everything that you can. Also, you can use an ND filter to get even longer exposures and play with everything, right? So volcano photography is about getting fun, of course, being safe, but always get fun. Tip number 5, take out of your camera bag your drone. It is worth it, even when you are going to deal sometimes or most of the time with wind ghosts. For me, it's worth it, because you are going to have a completely different perspective of the explosion, and also you can get closer to the action, right? So I think that it's completely worth it to try getting closer. Sometimes it hurts because if you get too close to a lava flow, for example, it's super hot, so you have to be aware or take care about the heat, or also if it's an explosive volcano, you have to be aware of the ballistics coming out from the crater. So be aware, but I can 100% tell to you that it's completely worth it, because the shots that you are going to have are going to be like amazing. And here goes a bonus tip. Please always be aware of your surroundings, because you are in an active volcano, and of course they explode, right? So be aware of your surroundings. Don't ever risk your life just for a shot. It isn't worth it. Instead of that, use your drone, use a long lens, so you can have a different angles. And there's something that I always say to my participants in the workshops. Leave your camera for one moment and actually look at the volcano and watch what's going on in front of you, right? Remember that not every person has the privilege to see an eruption in person. So enjoy it, right? It's part of the photography for me is like that. To enjoy it, of course, watching these natural displays is something like it's really, really amazing. So take a deep breath, leave your camera for a moment and watch the show, right? I hope these tips helped you to get advantage of the next time that you will be in front of an active volcano. If you have any questions, you can find me on my website, diegorizophoto.com, and also my social channels as @DiegoRizzoPhoto. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.